Fairmount Santrol is a leading provider of sand and sand-based products used primarily by the oil and gas exploration and production companies to enhance the productivity of their wells. Fairmount Santrol also provides high-quality products for other markets like foundry, water filtration, glass, and sports and recreation. So at Fairmount Santrol, I work in the role of an optimization analyst. Broadly speaking, I am involved with planning and implementing supply chain solutions. Supply chain is primarily the optimization solutions. And I was also the project lead for Quintiq scheduler and macro planner implementation. So Fairmount Santrol is a world-leading provider of high-performance sand-based products. We have a global network that's spread across North America, Europe, and Asia. We have more than 10,000 rail cars in our fleet. Our mining assets are primarily located in North America and the Illinois and Wisconsin area. And through our vast network of distribution terminals, we supply our high-quality northern white frac sand to all the oil and gas plays throughout the country. So engaging with Quintiq to build a supply chain optimization solution was part of an evolution process. So back in 2014, we did an in-house project to build a supply chain planning, a long-term horizon supply chain planning and optimization solution, which proved to be very helpful in our M&A activities. So our senior management saw this and they wanted a similar solution for our short-term technical needs. So we were at a point where we were assessing to do like an in-house engagement for this technical planning solution, or just assess what's out there available in the marketplace that can meet our needs. So during this assessment, we saw a lot of vendors and also assessed them, and Quintiq was one of them, and Quintiq was the one that we found that best suits our business needs. So before Quintiq, we were using, we started off with before the oil boom, we were using a legacy spreadsheet-based tool that was not meeting our needs. And after the oil boom, demand for products spiked, we added multiple assets, and now the supply chain became more complex. So we built we did an in-house project to build an optimization solution. But the focus for that solution was our long-term needs, and there was nothing that would help us do a day of operations planning. So we did an assessment where we looked at either expanding our current tool and adding the day of operations planning capabilities to it, or going out in the market and looking at market solutions that give us the same thing. So the advantage there was to get to a solution quicker than doing in-house development. It's something that's much better than what we could probably build. So that's when we came across Quintiq, and Quintiq Scheduler was the piece that was being used, that we thought would help us with our day of operations planning. So we kind of planned starting from our origin mines, where the actual raw production would happen. Starting from there to taking the product down to resin coating facilities, where we would add enhancements to the product and increase their performance, and then shipping it to our distribution terminals. The whole end-to-end planning was something that we built in Quintiq, for the Quintiq Scheduler, for it to do. So the early example I used with the 5,000 to 6,000 OD pairs that we could not manually do, on either our the long-term solution would do. That's something that we targeted Quintiq to do, and we were able to build that in Quintiq, working with the larger Quintiq team, and it's working out great for us. So Quintiq is working great for our production planning and inventory planning purposes. So production planning at the resin coating facilities, where we take our raw sand substrate and coat them with our high grade resins and create resin coated sand propans, which are our specialty products. So kind of a typical manufacturing environment, but with continuous flow and batch processing capabilities, and also at the terminal distribution inventory planning, monitoring the inventory levels, and making sure that all our terminal distributions are primarily rail terminals, and so managing the movement of rails in and out of the terminal, and keeping the cost low and penalties low coming from the railroad. All those factors, Quintiq scheduler has helped a lot. I'd like to mention we still have some challenges using Quintiq scheduler for our mine planning purposes, just because of a changing business scenario. And we are currently working with the Quintiq team to kind of get an assessment on what enhancements we can make to utilize this tool completely for the mine planning purposes. So the downturn in the oil and gas market opened up a new set of challenges for our business. There was a high focus on reducing overall costs in our supply chain network. The transportation costs were the biggest component of the total cost, and so there was a heavy focus on reducing the transportation costs. This led us to kind of doing like more unit train shipments compared to manifest. With the unit train, we do a block of 100 cars, and the railroads give us a better rate on shipping unit trains compared to manifest shipments, which can be anywhere from 1 to less than 100 cars. So we started doing a lot of unit train shipments, but when we were building Quintiq, the Quintiq solution was designed to do more manifest than planned unit trains at all. So there was some challenges utilizing Quintiq with our new business strategy. But at the terminal distribution level, Quintiq helped a lot in keeping our inventory to the required minimum, and that also helped us in reducing the inventory cost. And there were other penalties that we would incur by having congestion at the terminals that the railroad would penalize us for. And using Quintiq scheduler, we were able to keep those costs in checks too. So in the future, we see Quintiq, expanding on its product offerings, and we see Quintiq's products being used in several of our different business areas, other than supply chain. That's how we utilize Quintiq today. Also, there are a lot of enhancements that we would desire in our current solutions, and we want to work with the Quintiq team in assessing, how we can have those enhancements built and better utilize the tool today. We use a quantitative scoring technique to evaluate vendors. So to describe this process, we created a panel of internal stakeholders, and then we gathered a list of requirements business requirements for for our solution, and we weighted and prioritized each requirement. This requirement list was really shared with different vendors, and we kind of based on our communication with different vendors, we kind of shortlisted the top 3 candidates, and Quintiq was one of them. After that, the next step was to bring these 3 vendors in and request them to do a demo on how they intend to fulfill this, our list of requirements. So Quintiq, kind of follows an interesting process. It's called Scan and Vision, where they send in in preparation of the demo, they would send in their business consultants to work with our larger team and kind of build a tool or build a software on the fly as we are in meetings and gathering and really talking through the requirements. So it was quite interesting to see the consultants working closely with the team, and then the agility and responsiveness, kind of understanding what our needs are, and then giving us a small scale working with a small-scale data to kind of create a working solution live within that week was something that we found very interesting that we didn't, that other vendors did not offer. So after like these demos were completed with Quintiq and the other two vendors we had, we did scoring. We scored on each requirement, like how the vendor performed on the demo, and based on that, we kind of aggregated the score, and we found Quintiq getting the highest marks, and so we found that Quintiq would be the right path to go. From what I've seen in Quintiq products is a high level of customization ability, and so there's a core software and there is like models that are built on top that kind of cater to the individual business needs. So with that, considering that capability that Quintiq products has and the expertise that goes into the modeling individual business needs, I see Quintiq being used in any kind of business application. So specifically talking about any unexpected benefits that came out of the Quintiq's solution implementations. So I have one example to give for Macro Planner. So there's one requirement that we don't really ask in the solution was utilizing the storage spaces at our terminal distributions in a way that when you're looking at a long-term horizon, the storage space is kind of filled and depleted based on the best way to fulfill all the orders that are in the future and maximizing our other assets. So kind of specific to our business, but this is something that we did not foresee coming out of Quintiq, but it was just something that was available in the core software. So that was one advantage. And on the scheduler side, we intended to heavily use scheduler to manage our inventory planning at our terminal distribution centers. And it is a complicated process where there's a lot of rail car movement in and out of the terminals. We have certain rail spots that get occupied by loaded cars, and then we have to release the empty cars and products moving from the rail cars to the silos and from there to the customer trucks. So there was, we used to incur, demurrage penalties because of this complicated piece not being handled well, because it was kind of manually very challenging for to handle this handle it manually. And using Quintiq's optimizations tools like optimization solution, we were able to clearly visualize this movement from the rail cars to the silos and to the trucks. And also the the plan that Quintiq would create using its optimization skills was something that really worked out for us.